Today I want to talk about your hip and knee alignment, doing a squat or step-up exercise. And I decided to do this video based on what I was seeing in one of my exercise classes over the weekend. There was a young girl in the back of the room, and her knee kept collapsing towards the midline every time she did a step-up. We were holding hand weights, and I really wanted to step in and tell her and correct her. But I was a participant and she was following what the instructor had going, and not everybody is so receptive to critiquing them when they're in the gym. But we see all sorts of problems and deviations when we're out there, and I just really thought that this might be helpful for everybody. So when you go to do a step up, you want to make sure that the knee stays in line with your hip and the knee over the foot. So when you come up, it should stay in proper alignment. What I was seeing in that class is her knee was falling in like that. And that puts so much stress on these ligaments on the inside here and also over your patellofemoral joint here. So if that's the case and you can't keep your knee lined up with the hip and the foot, just drop the weight and then do the exercise so that you can maintain that good form. Because the last thing we want is an injury that's going to stop you from being able to be active and keep up with your exercise routines. It's the same thing when you go over to the side. That knee should stay over the foot and in line with your hip. Don't let it fall over here and try to come up. You're going to lose your balance, you're going to strain your knee, okay? Same thing when you go to do a squat. We don't want this. So keep those knees out over, keep your weight back over your heels, and that'll minimize the pressure and the compressive force on the front of your knees. So even if you've dropped the weights, you've lowered the step to the lowest level, and you're still having a hard time with keeping your knee in alignment, every time you step it still wants to fall towards the midline. What we want to look at then is your hip strength, because your hips are not strong enough to hold your leg out in alignment. And without proper hip strength, there's just no way to do a good squat or a really good step up. So then we're going to want to break that down and work on hip abduction strengthening. And mainly that's laying on your side, lifting your legs, putting a band around your knees and maybe doing some squats there and pushing out into it, but really trying to focus on that hip abduction. Hips on the ball with the bridging, and you can put this band, any kind of band, TheraBand, TheraTubing, and then these are performance bands, or Perform Better is a really good company that makes really good quality bands. And so this is another one. It's good for the hip abduction and just resistance around there and lifting. And there's two ways. One with the feet together, which is going to work the deep hip rotators as well as your glute medius, or feet apart. Okay, and it does change the focus of the muscle depending on if your hips are bent. Is going to be more glute medius, hips in neutral, more glute max. Okay, and then we could have the legs straight. You can increase the resistance by moving the band down towards the ankles and lifting against that. That's going to help to build up that hip strength. The other one might be bridging with resistance, which Stephanie showed in her last video, and this is a great exercise. And she's got a whole series of various ways to increase the levels of resistance during your bridge. So a couple of things to work on to try to increase the quality of your steps and your squats to protect your knees so that we have many, many years of leg strength.